Hey, so I want to talk about the problem with WrestleMania. So we've got WrestleMania coming up, and it's looking like it's going to be a pretty stacked card. Pretty good. But I feel now, with the way that the company has gone and how the company's grown, that it's kind of outgrown WrestleMania as it stands at the moment. Yeah, there's so many matches that are being announced and that are yet to be announced as well, that I've got to get on the card. I think the last WrestleMania came in at something ridiculous like 7.5 hours, including a pre-show, something stupid like that. Which is all good, you know. If you're a fan and you've got like a whole day to sit in front of the TV and watch, but for me it was the calibre of matches that were on. There was some good matchups on paper and some good storylines told on paper. The Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens one is the best example of that. You know, it's a great story told in the build up to WrestleMania, and what on paper should have been an amazing match, a class match, you know, between two of the best workers in and outside of the ring in the world, two of the best workers on the mic as well, and it didn't translate to that in the match itself. And I think that's because there wasn't enough time in the match, so there wasn't enough time for the performers to tell the story in the ring the way that it should have been. And I think that was the same case for the whole of the match, for the whole of the card as well. There was the women's match that was on there as well, and that was the same story. I felt that was quite rushed, you know. There was better matches throughout the rest of the year and the year prior to WrestleMania, because there was more time for them. There was more time for them to put the match together. It was long. It was a longer match. There was more time for them to tell the story in the match. You know, you're not getting that at WrestleMania anymore. And I think the problem is because the roster is absolutely stacked at the moment, and it's going to be stacked for a long time with the way that NXT's going. And if you look at the amount of titles they've got as well at the moment in the company, there's the Universal title, the WWE title, Intercontinental, United States, 2 tag championships. You've got the women's SmackDown and the women's Raw, and the Cruiserweight. That's 9 titles as it is at the moment. Yeah, that's 9 matches essentially that should be featured on a WrestleMania card, because you want the titles defended at the pay-per-view essentially. They're looking at creating more titles, which again is cool, but again it's where they're going to be placed. Which titles are going to miss out on WrestleMania? Because I don't think a title should not be on WrestleMania, on a WrestleMania card. You know, they're looking at bringing in a Cruiserweight tag team championships, which is good as well, because it helps to build the brand of 205, which is cool. Some amazing talent coming through, and that's currently there. So, you know, that's really good. That opens up a whole new dimension to the division and to the show, to the 205 show. They'll be looking at bringing in, no doubt, women's tag team titles as well. And a penny to a pound, they're going to bring in women's Intercontinental and women's United States as well. So there's going to be, you know, an extra, 2, 4, an extra 5 titles. You know, so that's like 19 titles within the next 5 years. That's going to be, you know, on the available to be put onto the main card on a WrestleMania. That's not possible in one day. Not at all. I think the solution to this problem, and what I would do personally, is I would make WrestleMania a full weekend. I'd have a WrestleMania card on Saturday and a WrestleMania card on Sunday, and I'd split the titles. So I'd split the main events, yeah, because you obviously you have matches, you know, that aren't for titles as well, and at the moment you're only really getting showcase matches. So you'll have Triple H will have a match guaranteed. You did have The Undertaker, who would have a match. He's going to have probably his last one this year. You know, John Cena will have a match every single year. You know, it'll be rare if he doesn't come back for WrestleMania. You know, so you have these guys who are going to want their matches. Randy Orton, he's going to want to be featured in a match at WrestleMania. You know, so you have these bigger these guys that they don't necessarily need a title and they're not going to fight for a title. But they like marquee matches, you know, the matches that you know inevitably are going to happen. You know Triple H is going to have a match. No, of course, he runs a company. You knew The Undertaker was going to feature at a WrestleMania. You know, while he's active, while he's not retired, you know that he's going to be on the card. You know John Cena is going to be on the card in some way, shape or form in a match. So they have to make space for those people on the card. That leaves no time for any mid-card feuds or any feuds in the top tier either. It doesn't leave space for them, I don't think. You know, and if there is a match that is not for a title, it's usually very, very short and very small, and it's kind of, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything for the wrestlers, because they're not able to sell their brand essentially on the biggest stage. They want to be able to showcase themselves and showcase their own brand to the whole of the WWE universe and to people that don't tune in essentially for wrestling on a regular basis, because there's a lot of people that just turn in, especially for WrestleMania. They only watch wrestling once a year, and that's the only thing they watch. You know, so they want to sell their brand to those people, and this is the stage to do it, and not getting the opportunity to do it because it's too small. So it should be split into 2 days, Saturday and a Sunday. They used to do a big massive WrestleMania week, where you should take the city they were going into, they'd essentially take over it and do lots of meet and greets and stuff like that. I think they might have shortened it down, who knows, but they do the NXT takeover, and they do that as on WrestleMania weekend as well, I believe, which is cool. They could do that on Friday, and then you've got WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday. That would, of course, it mean you could shorten down the cards, you know, so I'm not making them like 7.5 hours long. You know, you could chop that down quite considerably, but it would give a lot more room, a lot more breathing room. You know, it enable the wrestlers to tell the stories. You know, Bailey and Sasha Banks, for example, should be on the main card, but they're stuck in a battle royal. Don't finish the battle royals, but those are two wrestlers that shouldn't be in a battle royal. They've done a really, really good job of building that story over the course of months, and Corey Graves has done a fantastic job of assisting with building that story over months, ready for it to be brought to life at WrestleMania, and they're not going to be able to do it. Instead, they're in a battle royal because they're two of the biggest female stars in the company, and they don't have space for them on the biggest card of the year. It doesn't really make sense. There's, you know, they've got Matt Hardy in the battle royal. He's one of the biggest biggest stars in the company again. He's trending unbelievably well on Twitter, probably better than 90% of the people in WWE at the moment, and he's in the Battle Royal. He should have a solo match. You know, there's people that should be in the Battle Royal. You know, no doubt. You know, the likes of your Mojo O'Reillys and Ty Dillinger's probably a good shout for it as well. I think he's in it already, but you know, he's a good shout for it. You know, but if it was over a 2-day period, they could totally avoid it all. You know, they'd still have the Battle Royals and everything, which would be really good, because again, when it's utilised correctly, like they did with Baron Corbin, it's a great thing. You know, it's a great thing. But when you're just using it to shot people in so that they've got something to do, so that they're on the pay-per-view, it's not good. It takes away the relevance of it and how special how special it should be. It should be that vehicle, that platform for a superstar to elevate themselves to the next level, you know. And it's not, this year it's not going to do that, because they are massively top heavy on talent with not a lot of time. You know, they don't have enough time to put all the talent in that they need on the WrestleMania card without people getting upset, you know. And the quality of matches is another point, because there's not enough time. As I said, the quality of the matches is going to suffer, because there's matches on the card at the top end that you are going to want to give substantial amount of time to. You know, the likes of AJ Styles, Nakamura. If that doesn't go for half an hour, you've been robbed. You know, that's got to be a half an hour match at the very least. You know, you want Charlotte Flair and Asuka. You want that coming in at 20 minutes to half an hour, you know, because that'll be a blinder of a match as well. You know, you want the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match. I'd be surprised if that goes half an hour. That shouldn't go half an hour. That should go, you know, 15-20 minutes, that one. Just purely because I don't think Brock Lesnar is very good at telling the story in the ring, you know. And I think leaving it all to Roman Reigns would be a bit of a bum rap for him, you know. You can only carry someone so much, you know, and I think Roman Reigns would be taking too much weight in that match if they were going to have it for like half an hour. That'd be too much. Triple H's tag match with Stephanie and Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle, that's going to have to be given a substantial amount of time, because it's a mixed tag match. You've got to get everyone facing each other, and then you're going to want to get them. You want to see Rousey pitted against Triple H. You want to see that. Everybody wants to see it. Everybody knows it's going to happen, but you've got to be able to build it right within the match itself. You know, so that's going to take a good 20 minutes, because you don't want to put Rousey in there for like 30 minutes. You don't want to put her in a 30-minute match, regardless of whether it's a tag match, because it's her first match. You know, so you want to put her in. That's going to be about 20 minutes. You know, the entrances are going to take a stupid amount of time. Like, you know, that's another factor. The entrances for people are just, because it's WrestleMania, they're always big and ridiculous. You know. You know, so then you've got the Intercontinental match, you know, which arguably could steal the show, by the way. But you want to give that at least half an hour, at the very least half an hour, you know. You've got three people, and the entrances for that are going to be ridiculous. Finn Balor's entrance is going to take forever, because you know he's going to come down in his demon persona. You know, it's going to take a million years. As much as I love it, you know, the time is a factor here. You know, but yeah, if WrestleMania was split over 2 days, it'd be brilliant. They did something back in the 80s at WrestleMania 3 where they held WrestleMania in 2 different venues at 2 different times. Now that would be really that was a unique idea, and it didn't quite flop, you know, and it was successful in certain ways, but it kind of, looking back to the past, could help the future essentially. Having WrestleMania spread over 2 days, but in the same event, is the way to go at the moment, because, you know, so many matches are going to get missed out. You know, so many people are going to miss out on having their match at WrestleMania and having the right amount of time to put the match together, and the correct match and the best match possible, you know, for the stage that is WrestleMania. You know, I felt last year, I felt like I was getting Raw and SmackDown matches a lot of the time because they were just that short, you know, and it was no good. And this is supposed to be the time when you bring out your best. You put the best matches on. You save all your best spots essentially for WrestleMania, and it's just not the time for people to do that at this moment, because there's so much to fit in, so much for them to fit in. But yeah, so I think that would be the best way to go about it. I wouldn't have branded WrestleMania days. Don't get me wrong. Just to clear that one out there. So I'd mix everything up. So if you'd obviously have the 2 heavyweight titles on separate nights. So if you had the Raw and the SmackDown one, if you had the Universal on the Saturday and the WWE on the Sunday, I'd have the United States on the Saturday and the Intercontinental on the Sunday, for example. And I'd just mix them up, because that's the beauty of WrestleMania. It's supposed to be mixed in. You know what I mean? The two shows coming together to make one big extravaganza. You know. But yeah. So I mean, I think that's, for me, that's the best way to go about it, is to give them more time. You know, I want to see matches that aren't for the title as well. You know, and I want them to be given the right amount of time. You know, I want the wrestlers themselves to be given the right amount of time to tell the story in the ring. They're not getting that. You know, they're getting 5, maybe 10 minutes to do that, and it's not enough time. It's not enough time. You know. Yeah. So I mean, that's what I think. Thoughts in if anyone watches this anyway. Thoughts in the comment section, all that jazz. So, and I'll see you in a bit.